Hello and welcome. My name's David Caruso and I'm going to be your host for today's webinar. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to do so. Now, before I get started, I just want to get rid of the white elephant in the room. You see, often when I introduce myself as David Caruso, the first thing that comes to a lot of people's minds is David Caruso, CSI Miami. Well, obviously I'm not David Caruso, CSI Miami, but if you're going to think of David Caruso and David Caruso, CSI throughout this time we're going to spend together today, I'd like you to think of David Caruso, CSI, the speaker. Because the CSI stands for something that I want to try to achieve as a group today. Now, I often say to my audiences, I haven't got the answer to your business. And I mean that in all sincerity with my hand on my heart. And before you hang up the call, please just hear me out. I say that because I don't know anything about you. I don't know anything about your business and what life cycle it's up to. So for me to stand here and say, hey, I've got all the answers for your business, that'd be telling a small white lie. You see, my role as a speaker is to do three main things. And those three main things just happen to correspond, just happen to correlate with the CSI. You see, my first role today is to challenge you. Challenge your thoughts, challenge your expectations, challenge you if you're using blogging correctly in your everyday business. Now, the great thing about being challenged is our mind is stretched at that stage. And that's the great time to do the second thing I'm here to do today, and that's to simply spark ideas. Now, I'm going to be using some real-world examples from my own businesses that I own, plus some other businesses I do consulting work with. Now, I don't use these real-world examples to say, hey, look at me, look how wonderful we are. I use these examples to show you that the principles that I'm teaching in blogging, how they actually apply in the real world. And that this is just not textbook stuff that I think you should be doing. This is real-world working applications. A lot of my examples are actually from real-world businesses, small to medium enterprise businesses like yourself and like myself. Now, I do that on purpose because it's one of my pet hates to listen to speakers, trainers talk about what big corporations are doing, the Coca-Colas, the McDonald's of the world. Because for me, I don't know about you, but for me, I can't relate to that. I don't have the resources, the time, the budget that those big corporations are doing, or using, I should say. So for me, most of my examples always comes from real-world SME businesses. So I'm here to challenge you. I'm here to spark ideas. Thirdly, I'm a paid professional motivational speaker, and my job as a motivational speaker is to motivate you, inspire you to take action. Because it doesn't matter how much great information I share with you today, and it is going to be great information, it's worth zero if you don't do anything with it. So I want to motivate you, inspire you to take action after this presentation. Now, a little bit about me before we move on to the crux of the presentation. I had a successful business in Sydney for 17, 18 years. It was a hire company in Sydney's West. We had 50 plus employees, $3.5 million a year turnover. We were fairly successful. We won a lot of business awards in our time. We were Business Swap International Business of the Year. We were New South Wales and ACT Business of the Year. For my international friends, for my international audience, New South Wales and ACT, they're states in Australia. And I was Blacktown Business Award winner. That was my local area. We won that 4 times. Actually, we won the New South Wales and ACT Business of the Year. We won that twice. And we were finalists in the Australian Hire Company of the Year against some really big heavyweights, some big national companies in my industry. In 2010, I sold off that business. And since 2010, I've been on the professional speaking circuit. And I speak at what we call, I do keynotes. Stuttering and stumbling today. I do keynotes and I speak at conferences, seminars, basically anywhere where somebody wants to fly me in. And we do what we call a keynote presentation, which is usually 45, 60 minutes, sometimes an hour and a half per se. Now, you might be able to tell with my accent, I am an Australian, but I don't live in Australia anymore. Since 2010, I've been living in Thailand. And we live in a quaint little fishing village called Hat Jau Samran, which is 90 minutes south of Bangkok. We have all the trappings of a nice idyllic lifestyle that Thailand can offer us. Now, I show you this picture because in 2010 I made a conscious decision, and maybe you can relate to this as business owners. Sometimes as business owners, we build our life around our business. Our business becomes the core focus of our life. And I sat back one day and I thought, this is all wrong. This is not the way it's supposed to be. My life is built around my business. I had a very successful business. We're making a lot of money, good turnover, and but my whole life was built around that business. So in 2010, I decided to flip that on its head and actually to build my business around my life. So instead of having my life built around my business, I decided to build my business around my life. My life came first. My family, my friends, my relationships came first, and then I would build my business around that. And this has been a journey for the last 7 to 8 years, and it's paying off, and something for you to consider as well if you find yourself into that trap. Now, before I moved to Thailand, I was a paid advisor to the New South Wales government. New South Wales government, for my international guests, that's a state. That's one of our states. We have state and federal. And I sat on the board of a small business development corporation, the SBDC, where we advise the small business minister of the New South Wales government on issues, policies, initiatives that the government should take. I sat on the board. You get elected for 3 years, and I got re-elected for a second tenure. So I had 2 tenures on that board. Around about that time also, I had a 14-month contract with the Australian government, the federal government, to deliver a series of workshops over 14 months as part of the NBN rollout. For my international guests, the NBN, National Broadband Network, is just a faster internet. I've also written a book, and my book's called Cheese Pizza. My mum reckons it's a good read. It's available to buy on my website. But that's enough about me, because today is about you. And we're going to talk about blogging and how to master blogging for your business, how to generate more leads and sales with a blog. And we're only going to focus on 2 main things today. The first thing we're going to do is why your business needs a blog. If you're not blogging at the moment, you need to be blogging to generate more leads and sales in your business, and I'm going to show you why that's the case. If you are blogging, I'm going to show you the real world purpose of a blog. We're not going to believe what we're being told about what we should be doing with our blogging endeavors, and we're going to have a raw and peel back the purpose of your blog. So hopefully I'll give you some insights on why you should be blogging. Now, during the presentation also, I'm going to be dropping some bombshells. Now, when I drop these bombshells, this is for you to relate what's being said and relate it back into your business. How does that apply to your business? So I'll drop some bombshells during the course of this session as well. All right, I have a big promise. Actually, I have 2 big promises to make. My first big promise is that I promise you will look at your business blog in a totally different light after today's presentation. That's a big promise, but you hold me to that promise at the end of the session. My second big promise is that this next 45 minutes, maybe a little bit over 45 minutes, together is going to fly by. Now, we're going to make a pinky promise. If this next 45 minutes flies by for you, I'm going to assume, pinky promise, I'm going to make this assumption that you've had a good time. Is that okay to make that assumption? If this next 45 minutes flies by, I'll ask you at the end of the session, I'm going to make the assumption you've had a good time. All right, let's get into today's session. So there's different types of blog applications we can use in our business. There's free hosting, and you can get free hosting and a free blog on WordPress, Google's Blogger, Medium, and usually your WordPress or your website, your blog website will look like www.yourname, whatever you call it, .wordpress.com. Now, we don't want to, in what we're talking about today, we don't want to use these tools. There is a reason why we'd use these tools for other purposes, but for the purpose today, we don't want to use these tools. We want to have our blog on our main website. So www.yourwebsite.com/blog area / where you write your content, where you put your blog posts. Now, we can use WordPress still. There's other tools, like there's tools we can install on our website. So if you've got a basic website, a HTML website perhaps, and you want to install a blog on your website, Easily done. You can get your developer to do it, and you can put these different tools on your website so you can do blogging. There's TypePad Pro Blogger, Drupal. We love WordPress. We're going to talk about WordPress today. Google loves WordPress. WordPress is easy. I think WordPress is powering 20% of the world's sites at the moment. So we use WordPress. Now, if you haven't got WordPress installed on your website, it takes about 20 minutes, 25 minutes to do so. Hour if you're slow. But get your developer to do it today. WordPress is free. You'll pay your developer to install it onto your website, but get it done. And pay your developer an hour of his time to do so if you can't do it yourself. So we're going to talk about putting your blog on your website using the WordPress application. And WordPress is for free, like I said. It's only the cost of the install that's going to cost you. So why your business needs a blog? Let's not believe everything we are being told. Now, the purest purpose of a blog, and you've probably heard this said before, a purist says, we use our blog to build a community around your brand. Build a community around our brand. We want to use our blog to actively engage with our prospect customers. This is a social media platform, so people can leave a comment on your blog, and you can reply back through the comment section, so we can engage with our prospective customers. We want to share information, long posts. Be a good netizen, citizen, same thing, but on the net. Clever use of words there. We can express our opinions, and we can become a thought leader in our industry. Now, you've probably heard all this stuff said before. I've even gone to a blogging expert's website, and it says, now it's time to ignite conversation around your brand with consistently compelling content that builds community. What's that all about? Do these people live in the real world? Do they have real world businesses? Because for a lot of us, this is a load of crap. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't resonate with what we're trying to achieve in our business. Now, don't get me wrong. There are famous bloggers out there that tick all those things we just talked about. One famous blogger is known as Seth Godin. You probably know Seth Godin. Seth Godin has a marketing blog, and sure, he's built a community. He's built a following. He's a thought leader. People go back to Seth Godin's blog on a day-to-day basis to read what Seth Godin's got to say about marketing. Sure, I understand that. There's another famous blogger out there. There's Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton's a celebrity blogger, and he writes about what people are doing, famous celebrities doing. And sure, he's got a following. He's a thought leader, and people go back to Paris Hilton's blog on a day-to-day basis to read what he's got to say about the latest celebrity news. Now, I don't want you to feel sorry for me, but I had a hire company in Sydney's West, and since 2006, up until I sold off in 2010, for those 4 years, I wrote a blog on my website. Now, with my hand on my heart, and once again, I'm not looking for sympathy here, but with my hand on my heart, I can honestly say that I did not become a thought leader in my business. I did not develop a following in my blogging about hiring equipment. Actually, nobody came back on a day-to-day basis to read what David Caruso's got to say about his lawnmowers, about his whippersnippers, about his generators and drills. So why would David Caruso for 4 years be writing a blog posts or putting blog posts on his websites if he's not doing all this thought leader, building a community, engaging with his community thing? I did it purely for SEO, for search engine optimization reasons. Now, for those who don't know what SEO is, and you must be hiding under a rock not to, that's the process of getting on page 1 of Google, search engine optimization. Now, we say Google, we always talk about Google because Google's got the largest market share, 80%, 90% in Western countries. Now, if we were in China, perhaps, we wouldn't talk about Google getting on page 1 of Google. Obviously, they're Baidu, and Russia has got a different search engine that's more dominant than Google as well. I think Yandex is, which comes to mind. And I don't know why I can't think of the Google, the Russian one. But the point being, so we talk about getting on page one of Google in the Western society because they've got the biggest market share. So search engine, I'm doing blogging for search engine optimization reasons. Now, back in 2006, 2007, one of the main purposes for blogging was not to have a static website. And Google loves changing content. So changing, and you've probably heard that before, changing content, that doesn't mean going to your homepage and changing content, changing the content on the About Us page or the Contact Us page. Having a blog attached to your website, you're adding content all the time, so your website's developing, evolving, and things. Because back in 2006, what used to happen was Google would send its spider, its robot, its text, and read your website. It might send it once a month. And he sends it once a month, and he doesn't see any changes over that once a month. So then he would send it once every 3 months, and then no changes, once every 6 months. So by having that change in content, I was getting the spider to come back to my website on a regular basis. Now that reasoning is gone in today's age, because Google sends a spider very, very often to your website. But still, he loves changing content. If you've got a static website, he'll send that spider to your website. He doesn't know if you still exist. If you don't update your website, he doesn't know if your business still exists. But by adding different content to your website, we're sending a clear message to Google to say, hey, our business still exists, which is that's that changing content. Now, the second reason I was doing blogging was for a keyword strategy. I wanted to optimize my website to be found for thousands and thousands of keywords. So it was a keyword strategy, and let me explain what I mean by this. Now, it's a rhetorical question because I can't see your answers, but how many pages do you have on your website? If you're the average small business owner, you've probably got 10, 15, 20, maybe stretching to 50 pages on your website. Now, a quick SEO lesson. We say Google indexes your website, but Google doesn't actually index your website. Google indexes individual pages of your website. And when we say that we SEO our website, we apply SEO practices to our website, we generally apply SEO practices to individual pages of our website. So if I'm applying what we call on-page optimization, SEO, that's an SEO step, I'm actually doing it per page. I'm not doing it via my website, it's per page focus. So let's have a look at just a simple breakdown of My Hire Company. At any point of time, and see if this relates to you in your business. In myhirecompany.com, I had, let's say 15 pages on my website. Now, when I SEO those 15 pages, I can only SEO each page for about 3 or 4 keywords per page. Now, when I'm talking about a keyword, I'm talking about a keyword phrase. So a keyword in this instance might be generator hire. Hire a generator. Even though that's 3 words, hire a generator, that is a keyword. It's actually a keyword phrase, but in this instance, when I'm talking about keywords, that's a keyword. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page there. That's not hire a generator, is not 3 keywords. It's 1 keyword. It's a keyword phrase. Hopefully we're on the same page. So when I'm optimizing my pages for specific keywords, I can only optimize a page for 3 to 4 keywords. And it's got to be, those 3 to 4 keywords, there's got to be one dominant keyword and the variants of that keyword. So let me give you an example. So if I wanted to optimize my website page about hiring generators, the main keyword is hire generators. That's the keyword I'm going for, or generator hire. And the variants of that keyword would be hiring a generator, generator rental, renting a generator. Now those variants are all around the dominant keyword hire a generator or generator hire. On that page, I can't talk about hiring tents, hiring jukeboxes, hiring any other different products. I've got to pick one dominant keyword and the variants around those keywords. Hopefully I haven't lost you at this stage. So with that thinking that I can only, optimize my website page for 3 to 4 keywords around one dominant keyword, if I've only got a 15-page website, I can only optimize my website for 60 keywords. So not a lot of keywords, is it? Now my hire company, I had 3 divisions in my hire company. I had an earth moving division, so I would hire big bobcats, excavators, drots, anything you would see in a civil contracting environment. I had a party hire division, chairs, tents, jukeboxes. I had a party shop, anything you wanted to do and hire for a party or event, we would do. I had a small equipment hire division. I had generators, drills, lawnmowers, and all these different small equipment hire. We used to hire out to who we used to name weekend warriors. The person who would come in on a Friday, pick up the machine, work at their house over the weekend, bring it back on the Sunday afternoon or the Monday morning. Now, just looking at one of those divisions, my small equipment hire division. In my small equipment hire division, I had 220 products. Like I said, lawnmowers, generators, drills, all these different pieces of equipment. But I'm going to pick out one piece of equipment to show you how many keywords. One, just for an example, I'm going to pick out this thing called a weed eater hire. Now, weed eater hire, we used to hire out these weed eaters. And so I wanted to be on page 1 of Google for the keyword term, for the keyword phrase, weed eater hire. But you know what? I call it a weed eater hire, but somebody might be looking for a weed eater. Now, we weren't selling these. We were just purely renting them and hiring this piece of equipment. So I didn't want to appear on Google for buy a weed eater or buy a whippersnipper. It was mostly around the hire word. So I would call it a weed eater, and weed eater hire is one keyword, but somebody might search hire a weed eater. That's a different keyword in Google's eyes. Somebody might be searching for whippersnipper hire. Once again, another different keyword. Somebody might actually look for a hire an edger. That's a totally different keyword. Rent an edger, different keyword. I present in New Zealand a lot. In New Zealand, they call them weed whackers. I think I spell weed whacker like that, but some people spell weed whacker with a H, weed whacker rental, or weed whacker hire a weed whacker. Can I tell you that in my keyword research, I found there was 40 variations to this one product. So if I extrapolate that out, 40 variations on average for each product that I hire out, I got 220 products. That's 8,800 keywords I want to be found on Google for, and that's only one division. I've got another 2 divisions to go. I've got my party hire, which has got a lot more pieces than 220 in it, and I've got my big equipment hire, probably around about 30 or 40 different pieces of equipment. So that's a headache. I want to be found on Google for tens of thousands of keywords, not just the 60 keywords that I can target with my 15-page website. So how do we overcome this problem? Well, that's where our blog comes in to save the day. So I would write a blog post about weed eater hire, and I would target that keyword phrase, weed eater hire. Now, I'm going to say this twice because I want this to resonate. Every time we write a blog post, it creates a brand new page on our website. Let me say that again because I want this to resonate. Every time we write a blog post, it creates a brand new page on your website. So I'm writing a blog post about weed eater hire and I'm targeting that particular keyword phrase. I might target a keyword phrase whippersnipper hire in another blog post, rent a weed eater in another blog post, lawnmower hire, bobcat hire. You can see where we're going with that. In 4 years, I had 850 blog posts on my website. I had increased my website from the 15 pages to now it's 865 pages, all targeting specific keywords. Is that making sense? I've expanded my my range of keywords. 850 blog posts, averaging 3 to 4 keywords per blog post, targeting. That's 3,240 or 3,400 if my maths serves me correctly. Extra keywords I'm targeting for my business, trying to get on page 1 of Google. Now, a tip, big tip, we don't call our blog because for most of us, for most of our audience, they don't know what a blog is. So I call my blog news, tips and advice, FAQs, latest news, whatever resonates with your audience. If your audience recognizes what a blog is, sure, call it a blog. But in most cases, our day-to-day audience doesn't recognize blogs, so call it news, FAQs, latest news, tips and advice, whatever the case may be, whatever resonates. So let's have a look at how we're using blog in the real world, and I'm going to use my wife's business as an example. And this is a current business that's going now. My wife, actually every presentation, if you've heard me present before, every presentation I do give a free plug to my wife. Keeps me in the good books, happy wife, happy life, they say. Now my wife has a website called thaisilkandscarf.com, and we are based in Thailand, as I've already told you. She sends silk scarves all over the world, Thailand silk scarves all over the world, and you can buy it online from her shop. So thaisilkandscarf.com. Another plug for my wife's business there. Now, if we go into the back end of her website,